Good morning. I have a question. Are you going through a hard time right now, like a tough season? It feels like everybody's going through, I don't want to say everybody, but it feels like a lot of people are going through a tough season. I'll raise my hand first. I've been going through a challenging season this year. But I just want to remind you today that it's just a process. God is just processing you. He's processing you for your purpose and to prepare to walk into destiny. It's your process into purpose. And I know that may not bring a ton of solace but and comfort, but just know that it does get better. The storm has to run out of rain. It can't last forever. The storm cannot last forever. And so I'm reminded of Peter when he walked on the water. And Jesus challenged Peter in Matthew 14 to you know, come out to where he was, doing the impossible. He was walking on the water. And he said, come. And Peter went out to go, and he was walking on the water, but then the wind began to blow. And the waters, we know, were already choppy, and they had big waves happening, right? So the wind's blowing. It's not an easy environment to do the impossible. And God says, come out on the water. And Peter, he's going, but when that wind starts blowing, he starts to freak out a little bit, and then he starts to drown. And then Jesus had to come and rescue him and pull him up and say, oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? Why did you doubt me in the storm? Why did you doubt me in the process? And this is just a reminder to you to keep your eyes stayed on him when the wind blows and things start to get hard and the situation looks extremely impossible and it looks like you cannot possibly get out of this, and it feels like God has put an impossible task on your plate or many impossible tasks on your plate that have insurmountable risk, at that moment, you have to, one, accept it. It can take a really long time to just do that, and you can say in your heart that you accept and think you even accept, but really you haven't really accepted it. And you can tell by the things that you say when you're not aligned, like why am I going through this, or why do I gotta do this, or what, when you're complaining about it. But these are the things that God has assigned to you, and you're not aligning with it, then in your heart you haven't accepted the fact that it's time for you to walk on water and come out to where he's at, out to the next, wherever that is for you. It's time for you to go. And we can hinder ourselves and stay in the boat or stay near the boat and not go because we don't trust. And next thing you know, you start to drown and the enemy starts hitting you, in the midst of that situation with the wind and the turbulence and the waves and and it starts to look like, wait a minute. And he reminds you, you walking on water, you gonna drown. And it's like, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? And then you're like, I can't. You start drowning. And it's like, dang it, I just feel like I got set up for failure. Why'd you put me on this water? What are you thinking? I can't walk on water. I'm human. I'm not a fish. And you have to challenge yourself to think and come up higher to where God is calling you to come up higher to. And then you have to remember, he's standing right there. You are in a oh, I got it. I had to think of the word. You're in a controlled environment. You're in a controlled environment. So imagine, when you go to those water parks, and or if you go to like Universal Studios or something, and it's all controlled, right? You're on a ride and it feels like this thing could get out of control at any moment, or the ride goes and dips into the water or does something risky, and you're like, at those times, that you're in a controlled circumstance, so you might get scared for a second, but you have faith because you know how it's going to end, right? Because you've actually seen the end, you know how it ends. But if we didn't see how certain roller coasters end, and we didn't have any promise of that, none of us would even get on those rides, right? But it's a controlled environment, and that's what I'm getting at. The process is a controlled environment, and so it might look scary, it might look like this thing is set up to kill you, but really it's set up for your victory and to get you through it. And you just have to really trust God, and try your best not to have little faith, but to instead have crazy faith. And that doesn't mean every day is going to look perfect. It doesn't mean every day you're going to perform well. It doesn't mean every day you're going to have perfect faith. It just doesn't. But if you can strive to have mustard seed faith, and when you fall down, like when babies fall, you can get back up again and say, okay, I just fell, but I believe that I can walk. And there's something incredible about babies. Like, we're all born with incredible faith. Like nothing sets into a baby's mind. You've never seen it where a baby starts to think. Like, they get frustrated, they might cry, but they get back up and they do it again. And so we're born like with this level of faith. But as we grow up in the world, life beats us down, and those things that were instilled in us that we were born with, they get stripped from us. And so God is, when you're reborn in him, he's trying to instill something back into you that he gave you, that through life the enemy has stolen. And it can be a tough process, but you just have to remember, I'm in a controlled environment. God will not let me fall. It's just a process. It won't kill me. The wind has to stop blowing and the waves have to calm down. And if they don't, and I am in the middle of chaos right now, when I feel like I needed to calm down, God himself will give me the peace, the structure, and excellence I need to get through this process and master what it is that he's given me. I hope that this is helpful for you. I'm preaching to you and preaching to me too. And not even preaching, we're having a conversation. Okay. Have a blessed day.